not serve him after he's been in an accident, y'all.
No default judge. No default judge.
Okay. Oh, so the other stuff is still there outstanding.
So individuals have been divorced and didn't even know.
This is Uncoupled. I'm MaryJ, certified divorce realtor, and this is Attorney Maiya Safikovs from Safikovs Law. Hi, Maiya.
Hey, MaryJ.
Nice to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, today we're going to talk a little bit about what happens if somebody is served with divorce papers, and maybe they're just physically unable to respond. So today I want to talk about like the person, different scenarios, but what happens if they're maybe in a serious accident? Because not everybody is evading being served, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people just have life happen to them during that time period, and they're unable to get a response in. So I'd like to know if a person is in a major accident, what happens? Can the court pause that? What's the result of that?
Well, the first important thing to note is that there is no such thing as a default judgment in divorces.
Okay.
So in
Okay.
other civil actions, such as lawsuits or perhaps dispossessory actions, if you fail to file a response, then that's a default judgment. And that means that the other side wins because of the fact that you didn't respond. Or you can go and pay a fee and open up the lawsuit again.
Okay.
None of that holds true in the family law realm.
No default judgment.
No default judgment.
Okay.
So for divorces, you still have the ability, even if you file an untimely answer, you can still file an answer.
Got it.
However, in the scenario that you just set forth, if an individual was in a car accident and could not submit his or her
comatose
filing,
state.
yes, then you want to notify the court or have someone notify the court.
Okay.
So that the litigation does not continue without you. So even though there is not a default judgment, you do waive the right of having notice of future hearings if you fail to file an answer.
Got it.
So let's say you're served with a lawsuit and you're in the hospital, but you are appropriately served. And the 30th
Hopefully not
day,
serving you in the hospital.
yes.
Let's not serve him after he's been in an accident, y'all.
But after that 30-day time period, if you fail to file an answer, the court could move on and start scheduling hearings. And you would
they have
not
no
be privy
idea.
to the hearings because you haven't supplied an answer with your appropriate address attached to your answer.
Got it.
So that's why you want to try your best to participate in the proceedings. Now, if you were in a comatose state, you couldn't be served, right? Because you're not an active individual, so service could not be perfected. But let's say you were served and then you enter into a comatose state. Someone or something would need to be noticed, would need to be given to the court as to what's going on. So a stay or a pause could be put on your action.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. So a family member could probably file a response and say, hey, this person is unable to respond because they've been in an accident.
Yes, or provide notice to the court.
If, let's say I've made all of these attempts to genuinely try to find my spouse, and I can't locate them. So does the court move on? What do they require before the case continues?
So
what would they require for me to at least do?
So they want to see that you've at least attempted service, right? So if you have an address, you've at least sent out a sheriff's deputy or a private process server to the address so that you have. If you cannot find the spouse at their last known address, then they're going to want to see that you've conducted your research. So that would be like going to a database like Spokio, or I think it's called peoplesearch.com,
Okay.
LexisNexis, to see if you can find the last known address of the individual. They want to make sure that you've Googled the person's name, that you've searched court databases, that you've reached out to the last known family members or friends. You need to keep a detailed log and provide specific instructions regarding the same for that. And then also that you have try to reach out to the individual yourself. That could be on social media.
Okay.
You want to make sure that you've searched all social media platforms, and then you can apply for the court to give you permission to serve the individual by placing an ad in the county where the divorce is filed.
Okay. So if somebody were to do this, let's talk about that a little bit. Let's double click on that. So what does that look like as far as the service, um, that option?
So, service by publication, it's very limited in the relief that the court can give you.
Okay.
That's just basically you just getting a divorce.
Because folks don't really read the newspaper
Yeah.
these days, right?
Yep. And it's the legal newspaper. So you're not placing ads in the AJC, you're
And
placing it in the legal organ of the
wow.
county where you're getting divorced.
Yeah, folks aren't looking at that every day.
Yeah, so like for DeKalb County, it's the Champion newspaper. For Gwinnett, I believe it's the Daily Post. So
Mm,
it's just those legal newspapers.
got it. Okay, so and let's talk about a little bit about um, that publication. Does what's the strongest or not the strongest? What's the strangest case that I think you've seen where someone cannot be located and they needed to be served? Is there anything strange that you can think of that maybe you're like, is that even legal? You had to ask about if that was even a legal way.
For service via publication.
Yeah.
So I've had cases where individuals have been divorced and didn't even know because their spouse wrongfully filed a divorce via publication without telling the other party.
So what happens with that? Can you undo it?
You can seek to undo the divorce, but it's up to the court. But if you have
Mm.
sufficient evidence to show that the individual, now the case that I had, the party, they were actually still living together at the time when the divorce was entered.
Mm.
And so you can file a motion to set aside the divorce, but it has to be within a certain time period.
I see. I see. So you can't wait too long, otherwise the courts aren't gonna.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then within that service by publication, if you cannot find your spouse within the country, then you do have a stronger case to be able to be divorced. And again, that would only be just a divorce is granted. That's it.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be a division of assets,
I
division
see.
of debts. It would just be the granting of the divorce.
Oh, so the other stuff is still there, outstanding.
Correct.
That's good to know because I think when you think of a divorce being granted, you just automatically assume that you're awarded everything because that person's, you know, out of the country. So basically, there's still unfinished business.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
MaryJ. Thank you. I've enjoyed it.
I have too. We've learned so many things, and I myself have learned a lot. I think that this has been one of the most beneficial seasons because we're able to kind of paint the picture of how people can get the best start. And when you can start people off right, then when they have someone like you to help finish it off, then everything is perfect. Well, as perfect as can be. With divorce, nothing's perfect.
Thank you.
So stay with us to the next season, which will be the spring season. We've got a lot more things to come. There's going to be great recordings. We also have a few new guest attorneys that will be joining us and divorce professionals. And I would love to bring Attorney Maiya Safikovs back. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And thank you for joining us. Stay tuned to spring season. Thank you. And this is Uncoupled. I'm MaryJ, divorce realtor. You can find me at MaryJATL.com. Thank you. Okay. So Maiya, quick question. So is it the court's responsibility to check on someone who is like incapacitated or unconscious or, like they are critically ill of some sort, and they just have no way to continue to follow up? So whose responsibility is it to follow up and check on that person's condition?
Well, it's not the court's responsibility. So
Okay.
I like to think of judges kind of like your 12th grade math teacher who
Uh-oh.
teaches multiple classes.
Okay.
So that one teacher is going to have multiple classes and multiple students. And so it's going to be impossible for that one person
Yeah.
to
My 12th
know
grade math
everything.
teacher was no joke. I'm gonna tell
Yes.
you. Like,
Yes.
if you didn't turn in your homework, it was, I'm not gonna waste time. You're getting an
Yes.
F.
Yeah, because they have so many people. The
Yeah.
same with the courts, right? While I know each judge would love to be able to check in on any litigant who's not doing well, they just
Has
don't
anyone
have.
ever done that you know
Yes.
of?
Yes. During the pandemic, one of my clients, she almost passed away.
Oh
And she
wow.
became ill, and the court was aware of it because we had to cancel a hearing because of it. Um, that judge sent an email through her, but judges can't usually don't communicate with us directly. It's through their staff, so normally a staff attorney or their judicial assistant. But the judges' chambers sent emails weekly checking on my
You're
client.
kidding.
Yeah, she was an amazing judge.
Wow.
Yep.
That is unheard of. That is
hmm
amazing. You said this was during COVID.
Yes, she is Judge Duncan in Gwinnett
All
County.
right. Shout
And
out
she,
to Judge Duncan.
yes, she sent emails, her staff sent emails checking up to see if everything was okay, and telling us that my client was in their thoughts and prayers. And then,
Amazing.
so it was a contested divorce, and it was more so frustrated by COVID because my client and her husband both lost their sources of income
Okay.
because of the pandemic.
Okay.
And then my client ended up getting COVID, and this was at the onset. So this wasn't just like COVID where you can get it, you keep your mask on,
Right.
you keep it moving. She was hospitalized for a prolonged period of time,
Mhm.
but the parties subsequently reconciled, got back
Oh,
together.
wow. It's just that good aura coming out from the
Yep,
judge's chambers.
yep.
That's amazing. I love that.
hmm
That's a story we don't hear. So what about folks like, but most judges aren't going to.
No, and I don't think that it's because their heart isn't in it. I think that they may not have the capacity to do so
Sure.
because they have so many cases. And in all counties, except for Fulton County, Georgia, in all counties, judges see a myriad of cases. So they listen to
Hmm.
criminal cases, they listen to general civil cases, which are like lawsuits or where contractors are suing each other
Yeah.
or corporations are suing each other. And then in addition to that, they have to listen to divorce cases. So they're dealing with so many different issues. So they don't have the ability to reach out to divorce
Right.
litigants who may be going through certain things.
Okay. I want to circle back a bit
hmm
and talk about the overseas scenario because we see that folks travel a lot.
Yes.
If I'm the party who's overseas, does that 30-day window still apply to me? And let's say it does. How can I come back and kind of pick up things where it left off and say, hey, I was overseas for a year. I didn't know that I haven't talked to this significant other. We separated. I didn't even know they filed.
So you have to be served, right? That's what due process is. It's getting served so that you have actual real notice that a lawsuit has been filed against you, so that you have the ability to make arrangements with the court to
Right.
ask for an extended period of time to file a formal answer or response,
Mhm.
or to at least let the court know that you plan on being an active participant in litigation. This is the address or the email address as to how you would like to receive all of your pleadings until you can file a formal answer.
Okay, so coming back, I would just look up the case, file a response, even though the time has passed, and just get my response in there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I inherited a case where my client had been served, and we got hired the week of her trial. So the divorce had been pending for a long time. We
Mm.
were hired the week of her trial. even though her case had been pending for over a year and she hadn't filed an answer, I still filed an answer on her behalf once she hired me. So
Okay.
that means her answer was over a year late, but I still filed it because I wanted to put the court on notice to what it was she was seeking. Now, if we're talking about other actions such as modification actions, modification of custody, visitation or child support or alimony, if you fail to timely file an answer, then you do waive your right to assert certain defenses, such as, or to have counterclaims. So with those modification actions, you have the ability to counterclaim for something called a contempt, which is where you want to bring the court's attention to the fact that the other party is not doing what he or she was instructed to do so by the court.
Got it. Wow. Okay. And like, what if they never file an answer? You said it, there's no such thing as a default judgment. So what happens? It just stays open indefinitely or?
No, the case moves along. And that means the plaintiff's case moves along. So if the husband files for divorce and wife is served and wife never files an answer,
Mm-hmm.
litigation will still continue. They will still go through the litigation process. It's just that wife won't have an answer on board.
Yeah.
The issue with that is that a court may not know how to provide notice to the wife because she hasn't filed an answer with her address.
Got
So if
it.
there's a court hearing scheduled, then you won't get notice. And there's case law
Mm-hmm.
that says if you fail to file an answer and participate in litigation and you miss your court date, you're not entitled to that notice
Yeah.
because you failed to be an active participant in that litigation.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, I mean, they could technically come in at any moment and start participating, but then they've missed a lot of opportunity to get their side heard.
Yes, and if you come in as a late participant, then you may miss discovery, which is
Yeah.
that 6-month window where you can file and request one another's documentation.
Yeah.
If you do that, then you are handicapped. You can file a motion to reopen discovery, but a court could say, no, I'm not going to reopen discovery. And you would not have any of your spouse's financial documentation to present a case before the court.
Got it. Excellent. Well, I want to thank you, Maiya,
Thank
for all of your
you.
amazing insights this entire winter season. Today is the final episode of the winter season. We have been talking about the beginning of the divorce journey, and I've been honored to have our very own family law attorney, Maiya Safikovs from Safikovs Law. Maiya, how do people get in touch with you?
They can call my office. Our number is 678-974-8280. Again, that number is 678-974-8280. Or you can Google us, and that's Safikovs, Safikovs, law.com.